I've tried to read non-fiction books in the past, and it's very difficult to get through these non-fiction books. Trust me, I've been there many times, and I know a lot of people out there have been there so many times. Hello, my name is Ishmael Adekule. Welcome to my channel. So in this video, I would love to teach two practical tips that I've used to read non-fiction books in the past. So I'll start with a personal story. I graduated from university in 2011 after the financial crisis of 2008-2009. 2 years before that was a struggle to get a job, and at the end of my graduation, I didn't have a job. I was jobless, and was a real struggle to get a job. I was kind of curious to find out, okay, why was the job market so difficult? Why was it so hard? And I picked up Aaron Boss's book On the Brink. Aaron Boss was the Treasury Secretary under the then Bush administration. So I felt, okay, this guy would definitely be able to explain to me what in the world is going on, why the job market is so brutal. The first time I read the book, I didn't understand it. Second and third time, I literally gave up. After a few pages or a few chapters, it was a very difficult book to get through. So I tried to read the book, and the book was quite difficult because I graduated with an engineering degree, and I didn't have much knowledge about finance and economics. So a lot of the terms used in that book was quite difficult for me to understand. So a few months after, 6 or 7 months after, I came across Khan Academy, which is a YouTube learning organization. They teach people basic, math, physics, chemistry, economics, and finance on YouTube, and which is totally free. So I went to the economics section and read credit default swaps, and Salman Khan explained it so well on this YouTube. He explained it like I explained it to a 5-year-old. And I basically went through a lot of the economics videos from stocks, bonds, trying to understand basic economics and finance. So I went back to the book, and I was able to read the book. I literally finished it. I didn't understand 100% of it, but it was actually kind of very, very helpful. That having that, beginner's foundational knowledge about economics and finance literally helped me go through reading the book. So, there's this concept called domain knowledge. So it's like a prerequisite knowledge that you need to have before you actually read a book, literally. So let me give an example. Okay, this book is Style, Lessons in Clarity and Grace by Joseph Williams. Okay, this is a sentence from the book. A non-restrictive clause modifies a noun, naming a referent that you can identify unambiguously without the information in that clause. Well, the author of this book, I guess, is assuming you know what a non-restrictive clause is. You understand what modifies means. You understand what a noun means. You understand what unambiguously means. If you don't understand those words or the concept or the grammatical construction of the sentence, it's going to be very difficult to read this book. And that has been a lot of my experience with a lot of non-fiction books I've read in the past, that if I don't have that background knowledge, that domain knowledge, or rather prerequisite knowledge, it can be very, very difficult to literally read the books and understand them. Another practical tips is, when you're reading a non-fiction books, make sure it addresses an immediate problem that you're trying to solve. These online creators, Tiago Fort and Natalia Eze, they've all struggled reading books at a certain stage in their lives. So, for example, now Tiago Fort struggled with reading The Creative Habit. The first time he tried it, he gave up after a few chapters. 5 years later, he returned to the book. So this is the quote from the newsletter he sent. Okay, so earlier this year, I picked it back up as part of the research for my own book, just in case I had missed something. And what I found astonished me: a deep, immersive dive into the lessons of 6 decades of experience in a demanding and unforgiving craft. I realized that I hadn't been ready before. I hadn't been ready to appreciate such a nuanced, subtle take on the creative process. Something similar happened to naturalizing also when you read the high output management. You read the book at the beginning when you didn't have employees, and later on you read it when you had employees, and the book was so much better. Let me read the quote from his newsletter. Oh, this is kind of cool. Like, it is an interesting book, whatever, but I didn't really get anything from it. And then I went back and we read it a few months ago, and I was like, wow, this is a phenomenal book, because there's so much stuff in there that is useful for learning how to be a better manager once you have employees. So, those two were trying to solve an immediate problem, and the books they read resonated far much more. So at the end of the day, these two practical tips will help you read non-fiction books. Having a prerequisite knowledge about the book you're about to read, a domain knowledge, and at the same time, trying to solve an immediate problem. So that's the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.